What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Akhlys, entitled Melinoë. This is released on Debemur Morti Productions. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Colorado, and this is one of the many, many musical projects of whom I consider one of the greatest songwriters, musicians, vocalists in current contemporary American black metal. I, of course, am referring to one Naas Alcameth. You may know him best for his work in the band Nightbringer and all the amazing body of work that band has created, but he's also done other various different sorts of projects ranging from Bestia Arcana, Excommunion, and most recently with the band Aerodos. But going to this project, this band started off on a very different sort of foot. Going back to 2009 with the debut release of Supplication, which was just straight up dark ambient material. Excellent dark ambient material nonetheless, but something completely different and out of left field. But going into 2015, Akhlys made a transition into a more scarier, darker black metal sort of sound, and that's what we got with the second Akhlys album, and I would say probably one of the more critically acclaimed albums of 2015 with The Dreaming Eye. Everything about that album was and still is very mesmerizing, from the album cover artwork, to the vocals, to the music, to the dark atmosphere surrounding it. That album was just perfection. And I still think it's perfect to this very day. And 5 years later, Akhlys is a more fully fleshed out sort of lineup. There's a full band to back this up, in addition to Naas Alcameth doing vocals and guitar. But for the second full-length album, it's stripped back down to just being two people. And here we have the second Akhlys album entitled Melinoë. It's 5 tracks, and it clocks in at around 46 minutes in length, so by at least a minute or so, this is the longest material Akhlys has done to date. And considering this album is named after someone who's considered the goddess of nightmares and ghosts, you can definitely tell what type of feelings you're going to get once you listen to the opening moments of Soliloquy to the rest of this album, because if you loved the Dreaming Eye, I think you're going to love Melinoë just the same, maybe even a little more, because Akhlys has crafted another American black metal masterpiece with this album. Every step of the way, everything about this album just oozes what is so good and great about American black metal. And this album is just exhilarating from front to back. I mean, musically, like I said, Naas Alcameth is a great songwriter and musician. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows exactly how to craft things to his liking and how to deliver some really wonderful music. And like I said, you hear it upon the opening ambient moments of Soliloquy, to later songs like Negalian, Akhlys, and of course the closing track with Incubatio. Some very interestingly named titles, but they all have to do with the concept of nightmares and dreams in some sort of way. But here he just brings this musical effort to a whole nother level here. The guitar riffs are just so awesome. They are very well balanced, very well played, very much bombastic throughout the majority of this album and some of the lengthier tracks on this album. Like going back to the track Negalian, which is the longest song on here at about 12 and a half minutes, you really get a tour de force of not only just the really dark and ambient moments that you would know Akhlys best for, but you also get a glimpse of how insane of a guitarist and bass player Naas Alcameth truly is, because he shines on all of those fronts. The main story of Melinoë is Naas Alcameth's guitar playing, and I think it's just absolutely phenomenal to listen to. Incredible riff after incredible riff, just so dark, so scary, so well established. That's what makes something like this album worth listening to over and over again. When it comes to the drums, if I'm not mistaken, the guy that currently plays drums in Naas Alcameth's other project, Aeratos, is drumming on this album here. And I think his drum performance is just sensational all the way through and through. Such endurance, such stamina for him being able to play so fast and so relentlessly without losing a step. So many great blast beats, so many great up-tempo moments, just some great awesome work to be heard with this drum performance. Great snare tones, great fills, just great high energy throughout this entire album. And it goes without saying, all of the ambient and experimental stuff that you hear throughout this album sounds really awesome too. Like, take the middle part of this album with Suck You Bear. I believe that's the one real lone ambient moment of this record. You really get the glimpse of fear and tension to be heard not only on that track, but for some of the more ambient moments that you hear throughout this album. Some of the more dark spoken word elements of this album I think is really, really nice. And when it comes to the vocals, of course, Naas Alcameth's vocals are very dominant and prominent here throughout this album. His vocals are very, very awesome, very unmatched, very in your face with what he's delivering as far as the vocals are concerned. And I just think it's a very intimidating vocal performance, just commanding your attention, just bringing in the darkness and the fears and the nightmares that the concept of this album brings. And he does so with such tremendous intensity. I really, really love Naas Alcameth's vocal performance here. I definitely would consider it on par with everything he did on The Dreaming Eye. I mean, that album is perfect, and I think this one is too. So overall, Naas Alcameth continues to prove why I think he's one of the greatest American songwriters in American black metal today, in terms of songwriting prowess, in terms of creativity, in terms of just storytelling. This Akhlys album is just so awesome to listen to. If you are a fan of The Dreaming Eye, I think you're going to really love this Melinoë album a lot more. You might like it the same, or you might like it more. It just depends on what mood you're feeling in. If you want to get scared or creep the fuck out, this Akhlys album is the one to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will leave you a link to the Debemur Morti Bandcamp page where you can listen to this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can buy it digitally. It is originally set to be released on December the 14th, but unfortunately, due to someone leaking this album and putting up a very poor quality upload, Debemur Morti did a very awesome thing by making this album available to listen to on both their Bandcamp and their YouTube channel. I will link you to that as well if you want to listen to it uninterrupted through there. But it is available physically as a CD, 12-inch vinyl, cassette. There is a lot of ways to get a hold of it, and I'm pretty sure on December the 14th this will be available on a more wide-run basis as far as digital streaming platforms are concerned. So, again, the album is Melinoë by Akhlys. This is released on Debemur Morti Productions. Definitely check this one out. Like The Dreaming Eye, this is mandatory purchasing. And for a score, I'm going to give this the highest score I can possibly give, and that is a perfect 10 out of 10. Sensational American black metal from probably one of the most sensational American black metal artists there currently is right now. So, if you've happened to have heard this album, definitely let me know what you think about it, how you feel about it, and how you think it compares to previous Akhlys releases. Are any of you guys into Akhlys? Definitely let me know. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until the next time, Army Help out.